This is the Voice of Health, sharing health principles, inspiring healthful living, because a healthy lifestyle is medicine. Broadcasting every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Brought to you by the Lifestyle Medicine team of Adventist Medical Center Manila, Health Ministries Department of North Philippine Union Conference, Adventist World Radio, and Hope Channel Philippines. This is the Voice of Health.
Isang masaya at malusog na araw sa inyong lahat, mga kaibigan, and welcome to Voice of Health Pilipinas, trumpeting heaven's prescription that lifestyle is medicine. Kami po sa bumubuo ng programang ito ay nagpapasalamat sa inyong walang sawang pagpapatuloy sa amin, sa inyong mga tahanan, sa inyong mga buhay, saan man po kayo naaabot nitong aming broadcast. At sa mga nanonood po sa atin sa Hope Channel, maraming salamat po. At sa radyo po, tayo po ay malakas na napapakinggan sa ating mga AWR radio stations, lalo't higit sa AWR 89.1 FM. At siyempre sa ating mga social media, tayo po ay napapanood at maaari po kayo diyang mag-like, mag-share at mag-comment. At bago po tayo magtungo sa ating episode sa araw na ito, nais ko po kayong anyayahan sa isang panalangin. Panginoon naming Diyos na aming hinihintay at pinaglilingkuran, salamat po sa araw na ito na inyong binigay sa amin, na muli kami ay magkakasama-sama upang patuloy na pag-usapan kung paano po namin gagawing mas maayos ang aming mga kalusugan, ang aming mga lifestyle, upang kami ay makapaglingkod sa iyo ng mas maayos. Salamat po sa aming mga tagapakinig at tagapanood. Pagpalain niyo po sila, ngayon din ang aming Hope Channel. Ito po ang aming dalangin sa pangalan ni Jesus. Amen. Mga kaibigan, ngayon po sa ating espesyal na edisyon, sapagkat ang Adventist Medical Center Manila po ay nagdiriwang ng ating 95th anniversary this year, no? Ay may tema po tayong Arise Missionaries for Christ Mission. Tayo po ay may kasamang isang medical missionary ngayong araw na to. Pero bago po yon, ay panoorin po muna natin itong ating bibigyang diin, ang nag-iisang letter F ng ating lifestyle acronym, ang Food is Medicine, Fluid is Medicine.
F. Food and fluid is medicine. The taste of health and the thirst quencher. How long can you live with nothing to eat or drink? Several studies provide sufficient evidence. Plant-based nutrition involves eating fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, and legumes. These kinds of food lowers your risk of heart disease, reduces risk of hypertension, helps in prevention or management of diabetes, prevents obesity and other chronic diseases. Water is among the basic needs for survival of humans, animals, and plants. About 2/3 or 60 to 70% of human weight accounts to water. Every cell, tissue, and organ of the body depends on water to work properly. Flushes out the toxins and waste, regulates normal body temperature, supports skin health, facilitates good digestion, provides protection for brain and spinal cord from shocks. Therefore, whether you eat or drink, or whatever you do all to the glory of God. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 31. Nourish more, abuse less.
At ngayon po, dahil po sa ating espesyal na episode na ito, ay makakasama po natin sa talakayan tungkol po sa mga herbs to use at the comfort of your home, ano, ay isa pong medical missionary, isang visiting medical missionary from the United States, at siya po ay bahagi ng health and your everyday care, no? Or Hayek. Kasi po, ang kanyang pangalan ay ang kanyang apelyido ay ginawa niya ng ministry. At we are happy and we are blessed to have Dr. Julie Hayek for this special edition. Good day to you, Dr. Julie.
Hi, Dr. Julie Hayek here, and I'm excited to be here in the Philippines and to be able to share some things that you can do in your home. Simple things, using herbs, and just to be well.
Yes, and very timely because ang kanya pong mga ibabahagi ay talagang mapapakinabangan natin ngayong panahong ito ng pagtatapos po ng taon. Medyo malamig-lamig na. Kaya po, ano po itong mga kailangan nating malaman at matutunan. At huwag niyo pong kalimutan, mag-like, mag-share at mag-comment para po sa ating mga pagbati, at kung kayo may mga katanungan, yan po ay ating bibigyang daan mamaya. At this point, we will now give the time to Dr. Julie. Dr. Julie?
Yes, so today I want to share with you 10 herbs that endorsed by the Department of Health in the Philippines. And then I'm going to add a few more because the extra ones that are at the end, you know them very well. You eat them, you probably buy them, or you probably have them at home, you're growing them. And so these are really good herbs, and they can do a lot of different things. So the first one is acapulco. It's great for your skin. It's related to such things like if someone gets ringworm, insect bites, scabies, eczema, or even skin fungal infections. So if you see any of this anywhere around from where you live, you might be able to use this for those insect bites, maybe eczema, or even skin fungal infections. So very important. And how to use that? Well, what you do is you take the flower part as well as the leaves, and you apply it as what you will do is you'll juice it kind of a bit, and then you will use that for ringworm or even for eczema, and also for any infected area on the skin. Very important. I know that a lot of times you'll get books on herbs and stuff, and the things just tell you what type of herb, but it doesn't tell you how much, it doesn't tell you how to apply it, it doesn't tell you how to use it. So that's why I want to share these things with you, so then that way you know how to use and what part of the plant to use. And so as we continue, if there's anything to make a tea, I will share with you how to do that as well. Most of the time when you go to school, that's when you learn how to do these things. So the first one is acapulco, and what you do is you use the flower and the leaf part of the plant, and you will crush it, so then that way you can get juice out of that, and you take the juice part and you apply that to the area that's infected or has eczema or it has ringworm.
It's my first time because I have seen just the leaves. But it's my first time to hear that even the flowers can be used.
Yeah, so in certain plants, sometimes that's exactly what you'll use is just the flower itself. So that's important to know what part of the plant, because some plants you can use everything. You can use the roots, you can use the stems, the leaves, and the flowers.
Okay.
And so, yeah. The next one is bitter gourd. I don't really know how to say this one.
Ampalaya.
So bitter gourd or bitter melon. A lot of times people here will boil it or they'll cut it in their salad. So this is really good too. And what we can do is if a person has diabetes so if they have type 2 diabetes, what you can do is you take a bunch of this and you chop it up and you put it in a container for them with warm water. So then that way you're kind of like making a tea, but you're having them soak their feet in this. And so they soak their feet for 30 minutes. And what it does during that period of time is it draws through the feet in the skin, and it goes all the way up to the point where they can actually taste it. So that's really good for diabetes, and what it's doing is it's detoxifying the system to kind of help clear out some of that area, so then that way they can have lower blood sugar levels. Now they say that for non-insulin dependent patients is who you would use it for, but I would still use it for people that are on insulin as well. And so yeah, so you can just soak your feet in that. You can juice it and drink the juice. You can cut it up, put it in the salads. So all of these ways, and you know, since it's bitter, you can also cut up like tomato in there, and that will help get rid of some of the bitterness. Or even if you want to put a little lemon in there, that can also help it with the bitterness. So either any of those ways are good. If you want to make it into like heat it up and stuff like that, any way that you're going to eat it, it will help you with your diabetes.
It's also my first time to hear that you can soak your feet. So how about for those patients with diabetic foot, or
Yes.
there's already problems with their foot?
Yeah, so if you're going to do on someone that's a diabetic and they're already having foot issues, I would not use hot water. If you're gonna put the hot water in there that's really hot, because you're kind of making it into it like almost a tea, I would wait for it to cool down a bit and make sure that it's not too hot for them. Now, I don't know, is your question asking something like if they have a wound? If they have a wound, you have to be very careful soaking wounds, because you don't want infection to spread. I would probably use aloe vera on that, or better yet, I would use something that's made up of a paste where you use coconut oil with honey and some sugar. Now people ask, well, what kind of sugar? It can be any kind of sugar. It can be white sugar, brown sugar, whatever sugar you have. Mix that with honey and with your coconut oil into a paste and put it on. And I've had experience with that, and we've had good results. Being able to save a person's foot, being able to give them more circulation and healing of the surface. And whenever it's a wound, that means it's deep. So you have to make sure that it's kind of wet a little bit in the inside, because if it dries just on the outside of a wound that's deep, that's not good, because it hasn't properly healed. So it's the inside out, right? So it's always inside out healing. And so this simple paste of honey, coconut oil, and sugar is my go-to for any type of wounds or anything that's like a bad sore. It's really great.
Wow, that's very, very informational and beneficial to so many. Thank you.
Absolutely. The next one is bawang, which is garlic. And did I say it right?
Yeah.
Bawang?
Bawang.
Bawang. Yeah, so this is really good because it's an antiseptic. It protects the skin from invading bacteria. Eat to reduce cholesterol, blood pressure, cancer, and it contains sulfur to heal acne quickly. So garlic is one of those go-tos. If you have a sore throat, just take a garlic clove and just suck it. Suck on that, and you will feel it it just going inside of your throat, and you feel that coating, that it's coating it, and it feels actually much better after you use that. But people that have high blood pressure, there's a lot of people in the Philippines that have high blood pressure and high cholesterol. So in that case, what you would do is you would take 5 cloves, steam it, eat it at your breakfast, steam another 5, eat that for your lunch, with your lunch. And even people that have cancer, garlic is amazing. So that's something that you want to use. You should use it on a regular basis, but if you eat it raw, the problem is nobody wants to be around you because you smell like garlic. So
Steaming is good.
if you're steaming, you don't have that smell. If you're steaming it, it doesn't have that real pungent or that strong taste or flavor. So that's one thing that's really good. So I like to tell people that you can actually make a drink or a tea out of it. What you do is you'll take 1 cup of hot water that's boiling, and you add the garlic to that. But what I usually do is I take a blender, I put the hot water that's been boiling inside the blender, and then I take 1 clove. So that's 1 cup of hot water with 1 clove, and then you blend it. And so now it's kind of thick, but you sip on it And what that will do is it will get into your system. Now, some people can't handle it because it's too strong. So you might have to put a few other things in there, or if you steam it, or if you boil it for a little bit and then blend it, it won't be as strong. I do have a flu shot. I call it Dr. Julie's flu shot. And people at my church in Columbus, Georgia, they're really into this, especially this time of year, because this is the time of year that, you know, people are affected with coughing and sneezing, runny nose, sore throat, not feeling good, maybe even the flu. So my concoction that I have is you take a whole bulb of garlic, which is like maybe anywhere from 15 to 30 little cloves, and I put it in a blender, and then I take 6 lemons, and I take the peel off and I put it in the blender. I take 1 pineapple, cut everything up, and then cut it in pieces and put it in the blender. And so you want to make sure that you have the core of the pineapple, because that's where the bromelain is. If someone's getting the flu, it's like they ache all over. So the bromelain is good for aches and pains. And so you put that in there, and then you will take like a small onion, and you will blend all that up. And then you take like between 1/4 to 1/2 cup of honey, and you also put that in there. And then if you want to, I also use 1 to 2 inches of ginger, and I put that in there as well and blend that up. And then you can either use 1/4 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, that's optional, and you can put that in the mix as well. And so this, you will take like a tablespoon or a shot of it every so often when needed, up to maybe a cup a day. But it's very strong, and so sometimes people that have problems with garlic, they can only take maybe a 1/2 teaspoon at a time because it's very potent. But it actually tastes pretty good.
Yeah, I like pineapple.
Yes.
It has pineapple, yeah.
Very good. So another thing you can do with garlic is if you have like an earache. When I was in Ethiopia, this lady had earache. Well, actually she had problems with like ringing in the ears. And so for years she couldn't sleep. And I told her, I said, just take a piece of garlic, take the outside off, stick it in your ear, put a hat on so it stays there. And she went to bed that night. And the next day when she came back to class, she had a testimony. Her testimony was, I slept so good. It was the first night I slept so good for how many years, and I have no more ringing. And so it's really simple. I can't guarantee you that's going to work for you, but I know that God can make anything happen. And so garlic is really good. We actually can make like a tincture out of that, and you would put it inside your ear, and that helps with infection. It helps to like clear out some of that, and it helps with your earache. So it's really good for that. You can put a slice on that area as well if you just want to keep it on the outside instead of putting it in. So that's what you can do for garlic. The next one is bayabas, which is one of my favorites. I love this fruit. Guava is really good. And the best part about it is it's very high in vitamin C. And so vitamin C is so vital, especially during the season where people have colds, flus, and all of that, because vitamin C is an antioxidant vitamin. And so not only is it high in vitamin C, but it's an antiseptic, it's an anti-inflammatory, antispasmodic, and also it's an anti-diabetic. So what does that mean for diabetics? Eat guava. Guava is your go-to fruit because it's upping that vitamin C, and it's also getting rid of that sugar levels inside your system for diabetics. So you definitely want to make sure that you're doing guavas. Now, how do you use it? Well, you take the leaves and you'll boil them to treat diarrhea. Well, when I was here in the beginning of the year of 2024, I was here January, February, and I got diarrhea. And so I tried doing charcoal, and that wasn't working. And so I found that there was a guava tree where we were, And I just started eating the leaves, just eating the leaves. I had like 6 to 7 of those leaves, and I was eating them. And probably within a couple hours, I was good to go. And so I probably ate maybe a total of maybe 20 leaves. So I ate some leaves, and then a half an hour later, I came back and I ate some more leaves. And then maybe 10 to 20 minutes later, I ate some more leaves. So very good for diarrhea. If you have tooth decay or you have gum infection, guava leaves is another thing. But what you want to do is you want to make it into a tea, and so you will drink that. And it's very good for disinfecting wounds. So if there's any wounds, this would be also a very good, like a wash for that. And not only that, but you can use it for mouthwash. So that's pretty cool. And not only that, but guava is good to lower your cholesterol, and it also promotes weight loss. So if people are a little overweight, start eating some guava. If you have high cholesterol, eat some guava as well. So these are like go-to type of foods that you can eat. So definitely want to do that. Lagundi.
Lagundi.
Yeah, Lagundi. Where I was last at, we had a bunch of this on their premises. Now this here, what you do is you take 5 of the leaves. It's good for wound healing. It's great for headaches, diarrhea, common cold and coughs, and it relieves asthma. So this is like a really go-to. If you know this and you know this plant, you definitely want to have some growing around where you are, because it's so good for so many different things. People get a lot of headaches when it goes with coughs and colds. So you definitely want to be able to use that. So how do you use it? Basically what you'll do is you'll take the leaves, and this will be able to use to treat wounds, headaches, diarrhea, and common cold. And so what you need to do is boil the leaves for about 15 minutes, and you should drink 3 cups, or 3 times a day, drink a cup to help loosen the phlegm. So once that phlegm is loosened up, you want to cough it out. And once you get that coughed out, that's going to help, because where is this going? It's going to your bronchial tubes. It's going inside where your lungs are, so you want to get that out. Whenever you're cold from your head or your neck goes down to the chest, that's when it gets really bad, because now it has spread to the bronchial tubes and the alveoli, the little filter areas. And so you really want to catch things right away. My thing is, even with headaches, one of the best things to do is use water, right? Something really simple. Like, so if you get a headache, the first thing you should do is drink 1 cup. So this bottle, you drink 1/2 bottle every 10 minutes for an hour, up to 6. So that would be 3 bottles of water in 1 hour. And so if you're drinking 1 cup of water for that headache, you will notice that probably by the time you drink maybe 4 cups or even 5, your headache is already gone. Now you probably wonder, why would that be? Well, when we look at the way the body is made, that we have blood flow. And so when you have a headache, it's boom, 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 right, in the head. So what that boom, boom is the blood is stuck in the head, because your muscles are so tight in your neck that the blood cannot be circulating properly throughout the system. And so therefore you have that headache or that pain. And so when you drink the water, it helps to get the blood thinner, so then that way the blood can move out of that area. And later we're going to share some other things for hydrotherapy, so you'll be excited to know a little about that as well. Diarrhea is another thing that you can use this for, in the common cold. So drink that for those things, and you will see a huge difference in treating a lot of those things. Now this one here I cannot pronounce.
Niogan.
Niogan?
Yes, Niogan.
So this is basically Chinese honeysuckle, and it's very effective in eliminating intestinal worms. And so when we have that, it's what you're going to do is you're going to use the seeds. You're only going to use the dry, mature seeds. You crack them and you ingest them dry. And when you do that 2 hours after eating, for children, you would use 5 to 7 of these seeds. For adults, 8 to 10 seeds. It's a one-time thing, but if you still have worms, wait for 1 week and take a second dose as the same. 5 to 7 seeds for children, and for adults, 8 to 10 seeds. So that's if you have worms and you want to get rid of those. This is one of my favorites, sambong. Very, very good. It's good for diuretic, meaning getting water out of your system. If you're holding a lot of water, you'll want to take sambong as a tea. If you have RA, which is rheumatoid arthritis, fever, urinary tract infections, urinary stones, and edema. But sambong is also good for pain. And so when you see the rheumatoid arthritis, that is pain, right? It's arthritis pain. So basically what you do is you pound those leaves into a paste, and you use that to treat the pain of rheumatoid arthritis. You could also boil the leaves to drink, and that will help bring down the fever or act as a diuretic. So then that way a person would go to the bathroom. Or if they have urinary tract infections, which would be a UTI, or if they have stones, urinary stones also, or if they have edema. So what is edema? That's like, say for instance, if my arm was swollen and I put my finger there, and then you'd actually see the print of my finger. So that would be edema. And so it helps with that as well. Sambong, we use that a lot when people have pain. And it's amazing. And we will show you some things when we get into hydrotherapy. You have to make sure that you watch the hydrotherapy one as well, because there's some really great things you can do with water treatment or using these things for that treatment as well. One thing that I like about this too is for fevers. All you need is about 3 to 5 cups, and that will take away the fever. And you want people just to kind of relax and just take a nap. So you get that into their system, and you will notice that the fever will come down, and it's amazing. I mean, these simple things are simply amazing for so many different things. So in my mind, you know, we see that hospitals are not out in the country. They're only basically in the city, and so people have to travel far. But if you have a fever and you're like 3 hours away from the hospital, what are you going to do? That's like too far away. So this is something that's really good. So if you're living out in the country, you need to make sure that you're growing some of these things so you can help your family, your neighbors, and help people when some of these things take place. So this one here is good for treating intestinal mobility, which is constipation. Also used for a mouthwash. And so when people are constipated, this is really good because, and so some questions might be, well, how do you know if you're constipated? How do I know if I'm constipated? Well, basically, if you're not having a bowel movement like 45 minutes after you eat, you may be constipated. But when you go and have a bowel movement, you should look to see what it looks like. If they're little pebbles, that means you're constipated. It should be like a consistency of toothpaste, and it should be like a banana, like a big banana shape, like a torpedo, right? So that's what your bowel movement should be like. And if it's not like that, well, then there's probably some things going on. And also, if you look at it, there's many other things that you can look at too. So I won't go into that now. But if you have constipation, this is the herb that's a go-to for that. And basically what you'll do is you'll take the leaves and you'll make a tea out of that, and you'll drink it for constipation. So how do you make a tea? Whenever you're making teas and you have bark, you're going to boil the bark for about 20 to 30 minutes. If you have a flower part that you're using for tea, what you do is you boil the water. Once the water is boiling, you shut it off and you put in the flowers. And so then you steep it for 20 to 30 minutes. If it's a leaf, you can simmer it on a low boil for about 15 minutes, and then I usually steep it for another 15 minutes. So this is also very good for a mouthwash, and the reason why is because it's high in fluoride. So that's very good for that. Our next one is pancit, pancitan.
Pansitan.
And so this is really good for arthritis and gout. One thing interesting about this plant is that it has shiny leaves. So you can see a picture there in the middle where the leaves are shiny. And so you kind of have an understanding of what it looks like. And this is really, really good when people have a lot of arthritis pain or gout. And so you want to use that. And what you can do is you can eat the fresh leaves, like 1 cupful as a salad, or you can make a tea out of it. So you take the leaves and you would boil them like 1 cup of water to 1 cup of leaves, and you would boil that. But you want to make sure that you're eating at least or drinking at least 3 to 5 cups of the tea. I'm into the point where how much would be 3 to 5, depending on how bad the case is. So if you're going to, you can boil it for 15 to 20 minutes, strain it, let it cool, and drink a cup after meals 3 times a day. So when you're doing that, you chop up the leaves, put it in the water. So herba buena.
Herba buena.
I love this one. Peppermint.
Yeah.
If you're on the go and you need to brush your teeth and you see peppermint, take a little leaf and chew it up. It's very good. It makes your breath smell good. But peppermint is used for an analgesic for aches and pains in the body. So if you're having a little pain, you can use it for that. How you use it? Take it internally as a tea, or you can use it externally by pounding the leaves and then apply that to the area. And it's interesting, you may wonder, well, you're always saying pound those leaves. The part that you want is the juice part. The juice part of the leaves is what really helps the area. And you'll notice like peppermint they'll use for like maybe if you have a tension headache, and they put a little peppermint and they rub the areas here on the temporal area, because that peppermint kind of helps calm people down. And also, if you're elderly and you're not hungry, you should probably take some peppermint tea. If you have like an issue with the stomach, it's also very good to take some peppermint tea. And if you eat too much or you don't eat enough, peppermint tea is really good because it will help you to have that balance. This is a favorite, salabat. Salabat. Everybody knows salabat, right?
Yeah.
Ginger.
Luya.
Ginger.
Luya.
Luya?
Yeah.
That's another dialect?
No, that's the Tagalog of ginger.
Okay.
Luya.
Yes. So when you're using ginger, it's an antioxidant, it's anti-inflammatory. And anytime you see anti in front of something, it means that it's against oxidation, it's against inflammation. And so those are words that are very important, because sometimes when our cells are not well, we get a stress oxidation inside the system, or we get inflammation in our cells too. So if we have anything that's an antioxidant, which are foods like ginger, or anti-inflammatory, those are really good because it helps get rid of the inflammation, it helps get rid of that oxidation that's built up in the system. So what would you use ginger for? Runny nose, sore throat, upset stomach. You can use it for your skin if you have wrinkles, and it can also lighten dark spots. So ginger is a really go-to, and I like to take ginger and mix it with honey and lemon. That's probably a common thing everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So you take the root and you boil that for 15 to 30 minutes, and then you will take the water from that, and you can drink it a little bit cooler, right? Because you don't want it too hot, and that will be very helpful for an upset stomach, or even if you're not feeling well. Again, how much? It depends on the person and how well they're feeling. I would say anywhere from 3 cups, 4 cups, or even up to 5 cups. Another one that's similar to ginger is turmeric. Do you notice that turmeric looks similar to ginger?
Yeah.
It's just that it's a little darker in the inside. And so they're both anti-inflammatory. And turmeric is an immune booster, and it's good for arthritis, for your heart, for your lungs. It protects against liver damage and gallbladder disorders. And it's also good for prostate. Men that might have prostate usually when they get to about 40. We see men having some issues maybe with their prostate when they're in their 40s, like urinating. So this might be a go-to. I have a friend that says it's the best thing for men that have prostate, and he puts it in his water. And so you want to build up with turmeric. You don't want to take like a tablespoon of powder at one time and use that. You want to maybe take 1/4 of a teaspoon and put it in a cup of water and use it that way for a while. Now, does turmeric taste that good? No, it don't. So you have to wrap your head around being healthy. Think that, if you want to be healthy, sometimes you have to take some of the stuff that doesn't taste all that great, but your mind has to say, I want to be healthy. And over a period of time, you won't have to take it after a while, just every now and then. So drink it as a tea, use it in your food. I actually make a lemon pie using turmeric because when you use turmeric and you heat it up, what it does is it turns yellow. So when I make my lemon pie, lemon pie, and I'm using lemon, I put turmeric in it to make it that much more yellow. So it's a really nice thing. It's not using any colors or anything like that because you're actually using something that's very nutritional. And so turmeric is really good if you use it with ginger, lemon, and honey. So this is an addition to the lemon, honey, ginger. Just add a little turmeric to that, and that would be very, very good for if you're not feeling well.
Yeah, we call it the luyang dilaw, yellow ginger. That's it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Because they're very similar together, yeah. So our next one is moringa, or you would call it
malunggay.
Yeah, malunggay. Malunggay. And I love moringa. Moringa is really amazing. I believe it would be probably one of your most, if you want to take a multivitamin, take moringa. It is so, so good. I know in parts of Africa, the doctors will give them some moringa that's ground up and have the lady that's pregnant take so much of it every day because it's a nutritional value. I use that for some patients that have cancer. It's a super green, so that's one of the things that's really good to have as well. If your body is acidic, take some moringa, so then that way your body would be more alkaline. Because if your body is in a state of alkaline, that means that you would be healthier, you won't get sick as much, because our body gets acidic when we eat a lot of foods that are not very good, like fried foods or foods that aren't real foods. And so we want to make sure that we're eating good, wholesome stuff. So eating your greens, make sure that you're getting your greens. So this is one of those super greens. And so you'll add the leaves to your soup. You can boil them, take them as a tea. It treats inflammation, and it's really good for conditions linked to arthritis, rheumatoidism, and joint pain. It also has been found to have anti-inflammatory properties that can help prevent and treat certain inflammations. So again, this is something that you should make sure that you're getting some of. And I know that they also have a Chinese moringa that's here.
Yeah.
I had a lot of that. Very good.
With the longer leaves. Yeah.
Yes.
Chinese malunggay. We call them Chinese malunggay.
Yeah, so that's a really good thing. So either one will work. So I definitely would say, take that as well. If you can get it every day, do it every day. If you can grow it where you live, that would be even better yet. So our next one is passion flowers. And that's interesting because I'm not saying the passion fruit, I'm saying the passion flowers. And so the flowers are really good for anxiety, insomnia, seizures, and hysteria. Now, a lot of people get anxious because, with COVID, people got like depression and anxiety, and some people couldn't even sleep. So this would be one of those things that you could go to, the passion flower. Basically what you want to do is you want to make a tea out of it. So you take 1 cup of hot water and you put 1 flower and you steep it for 30 minutes. So very easy, very simple to do. And you're steeping that flower for 30 minutes. So again, how do we make tea? we want to use the flour and we steep it in hot water, not boiling. I mean, you boil the water, shut it off, put the leaf or put the flour in there. And if you're doing leaves, you're going to simmer it on low for 15 minutes and then let it steep. If you're doing like the root, like maybe part of the bark, you will boil that for 30 minutes. So each one of those, the reason why is because the properties in that takes X amount of time to get it out. So that's why we do the boiling, the simmering, and the just steeping it. Our next thing is periwinkle. Periwinkle? I don't know what that would be as a name here, but you would actually use the flower part and the leaves. So you would take 10 of the leaves, 10 of the flowers, you boil them in water as a tea, and or the pink flowers, they're like whatever, and you would put them into a half a liter of water for 3 hours, and that would be like your solar tea. So if you're going to have sun for 3 hours, and you know that you're going to have sun for 3 hours, you can take a half a liter of water, put your 10 leaves of flowers and leaves in there, and just let it sit outside, and just the leaves by itself, and just let that kind of get in the sun for those 3 hours, and then you can start sipping on it throughout the day. What is it good for? It's good for diarrhea, vaginal discharge, if you have a throat ailments, if you got like a cough or a sore throat, if you have tonsillitis, if you have chest pain, even if you have high blood pressure, sore throat, intestinal pain, and as well, and also swelling, toothache, and water retention like edema. So those are some really good things that you can use for that. Very simple, very easy. The next one is one of my favorites. It's called oregano. Oregano was my go-to during COVID. When I had patients coming in and they're like, what can I do? I don't feel well. So within 3 days, I've had people turn around just like that when they had COVID. I had them take the tincture, and they would take so many drops to like an ounce or so of juice, and just had them take that 3, 4, 5, 6 times in a day, and within 3 days they were well. They were ready to go wherever. And so the oregano oil is like one of the best, but it's very expensive. So instead of taking the oregano oil, what you would do is you would take a leaf or two, depending on how big they are. One place I was at, the leaves were so big, like they were this big. I mean, they were huge, like my hand almost. And so that you can make like 3 cups or maybe 4 or 5 cups out of, because you only need like a leaf like this for a cup of tea. And so during the pandemic, or when COVID was, I went to the Puerto Rico. And the people that I stayed with, every single night, I had 2 cups of oregano tea with ginger and a little honey. And so I'm like, this is great. Like, I'm not going to be sick, because you know they had a lot of COVID was going on, and so they were celebrating their 100 years at the church. So I was going there to do some stuff on their radio, as well as for the church and for the youth, and traveling around. And I didn't get to do hardly any of that. I did some consultations, I did some treatments, and just being able to see some people and drinking that, I felt good. I wasn't sick, I didn't get sick, so I was very happy that we had the oregano that they had growing around their house, and we had that every night with the ginger. So that was really good. So what is oregano oil really good for? You can use it as tea, massage oil. It's good for your tummy. It's good for your skin. It's an anti-inflammatory. You can use it as a face compresses, where you use warm water with that, and you'd put it on your face. It's good for relieving coughs, so you can use it as a tea. Now, if you don't want to use honey, or maybe if you're diabetic, you might want to use some stevia. And so one thing I do want to say a little bit about this is, if you go to the store, I know in the United States anyway, in Hawaii, when I was in Hawaii, I went to Costco. It's like a big superware place, right? And I think there's one around here somewhere similar to that here. And I went to get the stevia or the stevia, the white stuff, right? They processed it into like white, like a white powder. And so I bought some of that. And when I got back home, when I was in Hawaii, we have a lot of lemons. So I made lemon tea, and I put some stevia in there, and I drank like the whole gallon. And my heart started doing this kind of a thing. And I'm like, what happened? So I went to the powder, and I looked at the ingredients, and stevia was not the only thing that was in there.
Wow.
Ethanol, starts with the ERTH, that is not good. I know that in some scientific papers that this ethanol stuff was supposed to be good for people that are diabetic as a substitute for sugar, but what it does is it gives you heart problems. And so, yeah, it might be good for one thing, but it can also mess up other areas. So we have to be very careful. And so stevia is very good, and it doesn't do that. But you have to be very careful when you go in the store and you buy the powder, because I'm noticing in the United States that you cannot get it by itself. It always has something else in it. If it's monk fruit, that's okay. I don't know if they have monk fruit here, but that's okay because it's a fruit. But yeah, not a good thing. The only place that I know to get this as a powder is at Country Life in Columbus, Georgia, and that's kind of where I live. So if I'm going to get any, I'm going to get it there because they have it 100% pure. But in the stores, you cannot get it by itself. So you have to be very, very careful to look at your ingredients and to make sure that that is truly what it is. Next one is lemongrass. Lemongrass
Tanglad.
is amazing.
Yeah, we call it tanglad.
Tanglad.
Yeah.
And I love lemongrass. It smells so good. We when I was at UG Pines, we had so much of it growing there. Even in Hawaii, we had a lot of it there too. It's great for putting in your recipes when you're cooking. So you can apply lemongrass, and it's essential as an oil if you make it into an oil. It's good for your skin. It's great for headaches, stomach ache, abdominal pains, also muscle pains. You can use 1 to 2 of those stalks, cut it into like 1 to 2 inch pieces, boil a cup of water, pour the boiling water over the lemongrass stalks and let it steep for about 15 to 30 minutes. You can leave the stalks in the water for 5 minutes if you need to use it quickly, and then strain that liquid and drink the tea or the liquid of that. So lemongrass, awesome, awesome. If you see my 5-minute video of when I was in Siloam, one of the girls went to nursing school, and she said she never learned anything like any of this before, ever in her 4 years going to nursing school. And she said that lemongrass actually cures a lot of things. Well, I want to make a point to that. We don't say it cures. We say that it definitely helps with these things, because when you say it cures, then that means that you're really coining whatever. So I like to say that, be on the safe side and say that it is a remedy for a lot of things, but it probably does do that. But I want to be on the safe side and say that lemongrass is a really great go-to for a lot of these things. So for sure, if you have something like, say you're using turmeric, put a little lemongrass in there. That'll help the flavor taste a little better too.
Okay.
So for another one, glutamate. Glutamate is wonderful. Oh man, we were making so many smoothies and specials when we were at one place because they had a lot of glutamate. And this is really good for people that have, like, so they can't sleep at night. They might need some help with their digestion. And so what you can do to make this into a tea is that you boil some of the flowers, the petals, along with some of the lemongrass. You put it in the water for 5 to 10 minutes, add some honey to this herbal concoction, and then you can serve it warm with meals. Now, I'm not a person that promotes drinking with your meals, And the reason why is because if you drink water with your meals, what's happening is when you're swallowing this and it gets into the stomach, that means the acid in your stomach, the hydrochloric acid in the stomach to break down the food, is not going to break the food down properly. So what you want to do is to hold off on drinking too much at your meal time. So you want to drink, if you're going to drink a glass of water, you're going to do it 30 minutes before you eat. And if you're going to drink a glass of water after you eat, it would be better to do that like 1.5 to 2 hours after. And the reason why I err on the side of 1.5 to 2 instead of an hour is because when people are not used to drinking on its own, sometimes when they eat and they drink an hour after, they have an aftertaste of their food. So we want to make sure that their food has been somewhat digested. So that way it's not interrupting with the digestion. So if it interrupts with the digestion, then it has to stop and start all over again in square one. So that's why eating between meals, eating like an hour after you eat, or 2 hours or 3 hours, it interrupts that process of digestion. And so you really want to make sure that you're not going to do that. So when you're doing this, you probably would drink a little bit, and because it's good for digestion, right? And so it will help that. But we were using it more so for healthy sleep. And sleep is a biggie, especially in the cities, because people work so much. Even on the farms, people are harvesting, they're working hard and working long hours. So we want to make sure that if we get our sleep, we'll be more productive. And even at the university where I work, I also tell my students, take a day off. Take a day off, rest, do something different. And that way you can be more productive for your work week. The next thing is papaya. How do you say that?
Papaya, yeah.
Everybody loves papaya. Papaya is so good for you, and you can use it for warts, corns, cancer, tumors. If you have some thick skin that you're trying to break up or whatever, it's really good for that. The roots or the extracts are very good for cancer, for your uterus. It's good for syphilis. And also for tropical infection. It's great for hemorrhoids and to remove mineral concentrations that are in the urine, because sometimes you get those little stones in the kidney, and so you want to make sure that it will help with that as well. And the unripe fruit as a mild laxative. If you have hemorrhoids, that's the worst thing, because that means that you were constipated at one time. And so when you're constipated at one time, then what happens? You're on the pot. That is not a good thing, because if you're straining to go to the bathroom, that means that the inside is going to come out, and that creates hemorrhoids. It creates blood in the stool, and so it creates inflammation, and so it doesn't feel good when you go to the bathroom. And so by using papaya, just make it into a nice little smoothie, and it's amazing because people will go to the bathroom and they'll have good bowel movements, and you want to be regular. So important. So this is my last one, and so it really was. And so I'm just excited to be able to share some of the things that you can find anywhere probably here in the Philippines that you can use to treat pretty much most things, even if you're far away from the hospital.
Thank you so much, Dr. Julie Hayek, and really, you are, we call you banyaga, no? Or foreign, but you studied more on this healing wonder of herbs in the Philippines. Thank you so much for, that's more than a 10, huh?
It was. I added some of those others because, people know a lot of those, so I wanted to add those to let them know how good they are, so that way they can use it.
Thank you so much for all of this and for reminding us, mga kaibigan. And at this point, we will ask Dr. Julie to give us the closing prayer.
Okay. Heavenly Father, we want to thank you so much for making us fearfully and wonderfully. You have planned out everything for us. Even though sin is part of who we are because of sickness and everything, you still have the master plan. And you want us to be well. You want us to be healthy. And you want us to be able to glorify you. So I thank you, Father, for the opportunity to know the things that you have given us that are right around us, that's freely that we can obtain in order to help with sickness, with healing. And so, Father, I pray every bite, every drink, everything that we do, that we consume, may it glorify you. And I pray that our bodies may stay healthy and strong. And with these simple herbs that we've learned about today, that everyone will be able to use for their families as well as for their neighbors, so we can help each other, support one another, and help each other to know who the great healer is, and that's Jesus Christ. We thank you, we praise you, we give you glory and honor, for it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, Dr. Julie. And it's been a great time with you. Foreign from the Philippines, just visiting, but you know a lot than us, and you have taught us. You have reminded us, mga kaibigan, na napakarami po, no? Nandyan lang sa tabi-tabi natin, in our backyard. There are so many things that God has given us. And salamat po sa pakikisama nyo sa amin dito sa special na episode na ito, na may kaugnayan po sa ating 95th anniversary ng ating hospital, Adventist Medical Center Manila, Arise Missionaries for Christ Mission. And God has given us a missionary, a medical missionary, to be with us today. So mga kaibigan, patuloy niyo po kaming subaybayan tuwing Lunes, Miyerkules at Biyernes dito po sa Hope Channel, North Philippines, sa AWR 89.1 FM at sa atin pong mga social media account na tayo po ay pinapalabas. Kaya maraming salamat po. Voice of Health Pilipinas, tinig ng kalusugan, trumpeting heaven's prescription that lifestyle is medicine. Maraming salamat po, and God bless you all.
This is the Voice of Health.